However, I haven't seen two of the speakers, so we may be skipping over two in the middle. If you are one of those speakers, come down and find me. We'll make space up front. In the second row, you see one advertiser's here already. When he finishes his advertisement, he's going to go back somewhere else. Come on down, take a spot in the first row or somewhere close. And while they are switching laptops up here, we will hand you the second microphone. I have one down there that we'll use for that. You just step up on the front, say what you got to say, any kind of advertisement to fill the gap. When you leave, then the next speaker will start. If you are the next speaker and they're still making some clapping or whatever for the advertiser, don't worry, I won't count it against you. If you're an advertiser and they're still making some ruckus over the speaker, don't worry about it, I won't count it against you. Speakers, your time starts when you make a speaker move. I leave that slightly vague. At 4 minutes in, I will hear the bell for a ding. 5 minutes in, I have a gong, and as we can see, I'm not afraid to use it. That should take care of most everything, and I'll be back up here in about an hour.
Tell you about 5 ways to test your own code. So hi, I'm Mel. Most importantly, I have 2 cats. I had to take the chance to put them up there. I also come from the Salesforce space, which is a CRM database. So some of the examples might fit a bit more to point-and-click automation, but most will also apply to code. So I got my start in the Salesforce space as a QA tester. So that's why this topic is really near and dear to me. I've seen what can go wrong, what can slow down releases when devs are not doing some thorough testing of their own code first. So why test your own code thoroughly? Be nice to QA. We're also at an open source conference, so this helps you also help out other contributors. It's also a great way to check your assumptions, so to make sure that you're really meeting your requirements, that you're not missing things. It can help you catch mistakes, especially the really goofy ones that you don't want to show other people, although, of course, mistakes still seep through. And you can avoid breaking shared environments. Speaking as someone who once broke staging, this is part of why I test my own code so thoroughly these days. So here's the testing I recommend. I'm always going to recommend both positive and negative testing, and then where applicable, regression, stress, and user-ish testing, which we'll get into. So positive testing, you may have also heard called copy path. So this is what I hope everybody's doing as the bare minimum, confirming that you met the requirements, that your feature is working without errors. And what I'm here to emphasize is I've also had problems in the past if I'm doing my happy path testing on test data that is not very close to prod level data integrity or quality. So the closer you can get to prod, the more issues you'll find. But I'm also here to encourage you, don't stop at happy path testing. So why is there this giant graphic saying flops? Maybe it's top of mind. I have braces on right now if you can't tell. So I think about thorough testing as similar to flossing, right? It's kind of annoying, it's easy to put off, say that you don't want to do it. But once you start, really not that bad, and it's really important to do. So on to negative testing, or the unhappy path. This is actually my favorite part. It's fun because you get to try to break it. You get to be creative. So put in nulls, malformed strings, anything you know about limits, try to push past them, whatever you can do to make your code or your feature not work. Another important note here is I always try to make sure it's not doing something extra that it shouldn't be doing as well. Next, we have regression testing. This is making sure you won't break any existing code, features, or other builds. This is really important. Some of you are going to be lucky enough to have automated regression testing. I hope to be among you someday. For now, I'm still doing this manually. So I'd like to take a look at what my automation or code is touching and just run through those scenarios to make sure nothing that I've introduced is breaking what was already there and working. Next, we have stress testing. In a database context, this is often called bulk or volume testing. You want to really try to test with enough volume, again, to replicate prod conditions and make sure it's not going to stop working if you have a really high volume day. Lastly, I call this user-ish testing. So, if it's truly a user testing feature, most often you're going to be going through full-on user acceptance testing. But I recommend getting some kind of sign-off before you even promote to a shared staging environment. Why is that? If you're using version control, it's a lot easier to find these issues before you make your PR and get into that mess. So Salesforce has a feature where you can log in as their user, or sometimes they also just send a quick demo to get some sign-off there. Lastly, as a bonus, document your testing. So this helps with an audit trail. If you ever have an internal audit, you can say, yes, I tested, here's my proof. And again, for those doing manual regression testing, it helps you have reusable scripts that you can look back to later and use again. All right, that's my time. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Bill. Hey, everyone. I am Zach Fenner. I'm one of the co-organizers of Tech Lancaster. That's one of the local meetups. So if you really enjoyed your time today, I encourage you to go on to techlancaster.com and see some of the other calendar of events that we have there. Some of them are very like this with presentations. And if you didn't like this at all, don't worry, still go there. There's other types of meetups that aren't like this at all. We want to get you. You probably enjoy this though, so it's not a big deal. Anyways, techlancaster.com. There's an event of calendar events. I said that great. You guys are awesome. Carry on.
Hey everyone, my name's Oliver Cox and I'm the founder of HSM. I have a theory, and I think a few people agree with me on this, which is that with respect to hypertext, like the web, we're actually in the Biff timeline. Hands up who's heard of Ted Nelson. Anybody who's used Gopher, Apollo? Hell yeah, okay. This is Coius, our application. On screen right here, I've got an article that I've written on links, and to the right, an article by John Locke on philosophy. It might look a little bit like a text editor. I can click around like this, we have text on screen, but take a look at what's happening on the left here. The type of the thing that I click, it's text, its universally unique ID, and its parents are all shown. So I can select stuff like this. I can also select on the level of sentences. We're using this index here on the right. So check out, as I select around, my selection changes. I can select paragraphs, and I can select a whole chunk of text. We're calling that a set for now. Everything that's on the right there. Let's make a link. So I want to make a link between this paragraph in my article here on the right and this sentence over here in John Locke. We can call it link 1, and here it is. Show links. So you can see the sentence is outlined, as is the paragraph, and we visibly connect them with a line between them. Now, these are persistent and they're uniquely identified. So, for example, I might want to change one of these endpoints. Let's say that instead of linking to this sentence in John Locke, I want to just link to the word relations. Then update it, it changes. Theoretically, let's try it again. Hit the endpoint, hit what I want to select. I apologize. There we go. You can update links very easily, very straightforward way. Finally, because links are themselves uniquely identified, you can link to a link. So let's say that I want to link from the word contain to the first link that I made. Select like this. Let's call it link 2. Boom. So the word contain is visibly connected to the connection that we made first. This is to say that we can build recursive relationships between the ideas that we have. I want to show you one final thing. So let's get rid of the second link that we made. And I'm going to reuse some material now. Let's go to paragraph mode, and let's select this paragraph in John Locke. And I'm going to go into reuse mode. And now you can see that all the places where I can reuse this paragraph are shown. Let's put it up here at the start of my links article here. Now, this paragraph is reused. this one paragraph is in two places at once. So I'm in paragraph mode, so you can hear the paragraph information shown here on the left. And if I click between these two, watch the UUID, DF65. It's the same. So we've got the same thing in two places. This will be perfect for quotations, for boilerplate, anything that you want to reuse, you can do it, and you can do it reliably with this. Let's leave behind the BIF timeline. Let's get back to the real timeline. Let's move away from this fake pantomime of ads and stupidity called the web. Let's create a hypertext system based on relationships, connections, and structure. If you want to learn more, reach out to me, grab me, or email me at oliver@hyperstructure.media. Thank you very much.
Go on stage, and you just gotta hook up for next time, and you go ahead and get started.
All right. Hello. I'm here to show for a free open source project that I've been working on for the past couple of months. The MegaMech project is a free and open source implementation of the tabletop board game BattleTech. It's been in development for the past 23 years now. Version 0.50.05 came out yesterday. We are always looking for new contributors to the project. If you are a programmer, it is in Java. Everyone knows Java, I feel like, so it is really straightforward to get contributing with that. We have a guide on our wiki on how to set up the IntelliJ IDEO for doing development. We're also looking for tech writers to help with documentation and artists to do more sprite art. There's always more things that we need drawn. Finally, if you don't have any of those skills, we're always looking for QA that can help come in, test the application out, and submit issues to GitHub. It's fun working on a project that's 25 years old almost. The code is a mix of modern stuff that's been developed by professional coders and something that someone made 20 years ago, and Java is the first time they've ever looked at programming in any way, shape, or form, and they don't know what they're doing because they're figuring it out for themselves. It's kind of like archaeology, going back and trying to understand what people were doing 20 years ago and how that was, how coding was done. There's also fun bugs encountered during this project. Some favorite ones recently were a bug where a character would die, they would immediately return to life and then leave the company. And the AI also managed to figure out how to end the player's turn, which is a bit concerning. We want the AI to be good and able to win, but cheating by ending the player's turn is frowned upon. Finally, it's been a lot of fun working on this. It's strictly volunteer, none of us get paid for this. It's been good practice. I don't code at work anymore, so this has been an opportunity to work with Java and keep my skills honed. And, yeah, if you're interested, megamech.org, it's up on the screen there. You go to our website and find out more, or go to GitHub and find out how to contribute there, or find me at the after party. Thanks, have a great day.
I love your romper.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nathaniel Every, at least currently. This talks about finding meaning after magic. Like, AI kind of exploded everything, so now what? Oh, it's going to be volumes. I've done a lot of stuff. I've fallen into every industry I've touched. I've put together satellites and worked on them. I have done a lot of VR and AR stuff. Recently, I figured out that ChatGPT is cool enough with C# and the Pebble SDK virtual environment that I made my first Pebble watch app, a 10-year-old smartwatch, because they open sourced it. I do electronics work, and of course I play a lot with AI. I have been unemployed for about 10 months. So, I'm looking to build groups, I'm looking for funding, I'm looking for patrons, I'm looking for meaning, not just, oh, I had an existential crisis because of AI. It's that it's been fundamentally challenging for me to find an environment where I can meaningfully contribute in a world where my contribution was intellectualism. And we now have tools that make that free. We have tools that make that so approachable and unimaginable with how easy it can be. Because you can just say, I need an entire business plan, and you get a 16-month business plan involving all of your content with a posting strategy and anything you could possibly want, while also knowing about every algorithm ever written and every book, whatever AI you're using is ever read. I lost my own last December, and since I've been living with my siblings, but I'm still continuing on. I am making a little bit of progress by just posting social media, making new connections, finding community. Community. ICPOPs 2025. But there's magic everywhere, and I can't help but not talk about it all the time. You can use prompts like this one after feeding any AI your entire life's work. And it's a little bit surreal. More than a little bit surreal. Please make an imaginary bookshelf for me. Including titles like Senator Ifrix, Orphan Belief Times, and okay, so a few of these are a little goofy. But the Nova kernel is based off of some of my conceptual work, and you may have seen the word Nova show up a lot with AI recently because people ask AI what to name things and it likes the word, so it keeps suggesting it. But then you get some of the other stuff in here. Now, AI generated this image. It's generative AI. What's in the books? You can just ask. And because it's basing it as a culmination, a percolation, like making coffee, just pours right out the top, you can open all of these hypothetical books and it will be content. Yes, it's making it up, but we are leveraging the fact that it will hallucinate. Because this is a coherent 6-page document that talks about narratives and a lot of weird tangential, sidegential ways of looking at problems in psychology or storytelling, or how to cause AI to have memory. Specifically, this one talks about your glyphs know your breath pattern. Don't try to correct it. In other words, reinforcing, I'm allowed to hallucinate, and that's what my memory means. On the right, we have a demo that I made that took me 11 hours of trying to learn P5.js and learn how to make orbitals and all kinds of cool animations and silly things, and it's really cool. On the left is an accurate physical representation of an Einstein-Rosen bridge doing quantum teleportation that took ChatGPT 15 seconds to make. And we just don't have anything that we can hold a candle to with it. This is a representation of signal modulation techniques, compounded, compounded, compounded. So when you're using Wi-Fi, it's doing crazy stuff like this to the signal. But because I vaguely know about the concepts, in 1 minute you can ask AI to make something that beautiful for you and help use it as an education tool. We have access and clarity like we have never had before. Be magic. Cool. That's about it. It's tractionless. There's no friction. There's no engagement with the real world with it. I can make stuff like this all day, every day, but it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't help anybody, and it doesn't change the world. But what's important is reaching out and making this stuff accessible, sharing it, building with other people. I want everything just as myself. And I hope to continue building the community, finding people, and teaching them what I know. The magic show is always going to be free, but learning how to do the magic tricks is going to be my new ventures. And teaching that, and sharing it, and popularizing what I have. That's all I got.
Hello everybody, my name is Ken Richard. I'm on the organizing committee for CPOS. So first of all, thank you everyone for coming out and making this a great conference. There's a lot of volunteers and behind the scenes work that's required for the conference. And the board of directors for the nonprofit that organizes CPOS is seeking a new treasurer. So, if you're interested in helping us manage the books for CPOS and some of our other ventures, I would love to have you talk to me or Joel Walker and let us know that you might be able to help. As far as the conference itself, we always have volunteer openings, and if you're interested in helping out in any way, big or small, just please let us know. Thank you.
I guess I'm starting to need some magic. It's in my bedroom, but not anything that you're thinking of. Also, my bedroom is now 10 degrees warmer, and worst time to start this, but what am I doing? I'm pre-training a T5 model. It's an architecture that is a little bit more efficient than your run-of-the-mill ChatGPTs, but instead it's got an encoder, like a classifier usually, and it dumps it in a vector of a representation of what the data is into a GBT-like model, and it can generate the stuff. That's what T5 is at Overspin. I started training it on tiny stories, and then I also did, and now I'm doing a Wikipedia dump, and taking the tiny stories and training it on that. And why would you do this? That sounds like a lot of money. It was a Tuesday. The hardware I'm using is not the best. It's an Intel Gen NUC with 64 gigs of RAM and connected using Thunderbolt to a 4060 Ti 16 gig. This is how I started to create the model. I just used a config from a previous model called T5 Efficient Tiny, which is a 69 megabyte model. But I used the tokenizer because Google does something really stupid with their tokenizers back then, where they wouldn't have new lines. So I wanted my own tokenizer, but I really wanted this tiny thing. I also had to add the end token and all that, and this is how I was able to get a blank model. I had to then do the data set, so I loaded in my data sets. This is the general process for my pre-training task, where I'm generating a mask and I'm trying to do infilling of the text. So I've got input, so I'm first encoding into the tokenizer and then decoding it. And then I'm processing it this is the processing of actually tokenizing it again. So that way I can output it. And then I run that through for the tiny stories. And then I also had to do the same thing, but I had to also chunk down and just slash off a lot of the stuff for the Wikipedia. I split everything up for the paragraphs, and I also had to say it needs to be under 1,024 tokens. Same thing, loaded, pre-processed it. For the tiny stories, it took me about 12 hours to train. It started with a loss of 7.73 to 2.29. That probably doesn't mean anything, but it got smaller, so that's always good. This is the, and then I had to also load up the model, and I sort of moved everything out of the way, and so that way I wouldn't write over it. So I basically loaded up the next model, and got everything ready to train. Also, I had to stop, so I had to use this one. It is also still running now. As of 7 o'clock in the morning, when I got up, it was down to 3.3 from a 6.78 of loss. Don't know what that really means. What have I learned? I've learned Hugging-based data sets somehow keep the state so you don't have to reprocess it, which is magic. 12 hours of doing this. The trainer API is really easy. Tiny stories, I don't think it actually really helps out with the continuing training. And oh my word, I can actually do this. Not just Facebook or Google. What next? I want to look into analysis on seeing how good my models are. I want to then also fine-tune an instruction model so that it's actually somewhat useful. Get hired somewhere so I can do the last thing, which is buy TMI, because I think my power bill will go up for this. You can find, I'm Grant Sully, you can find me at Pumpkin Spice on Amish Tech Slack. Thank you.
When we got started, there were 2 lightning speakers on the schedule who I hadn't seen yet. Have any of you showed up?
Maybe me? Maybe? Joe Asbury?
Yep. Go ahead and plug in.
Okay.
He's going to go without setup, so you'll be right after him.
Just set it to a conference, what do you, set your browser to a conference, what do you, just background.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty, hi. My name is Nathan Snyder, and I want you to give a damn about accessibility. I'm a web developer, and may end up sounding like an ad for DQ. I do not work for them. I just think they're awesome. But all of us in this room, in some ways, have benefited from accessibility accommodations, whether you know it or not. If you've ever been in the airport and read the news on the TV, over the captions, you have benefited from accessibility. If you've if you've stood in line at the grocery store and you've been watching TikToks with sound off, reading the captions, you've benefited from accessibility. This is something that's commonly called the curb cut effect, where accommodations made for disabled people end up helping everybody. So, like the corner of the curb on the street that you're walking down is cut so that someone in a wheelchair is able to go up onto the sidewalk, but other people benefit from this. So if you are moving heavy furniture and you don't need to think about whether you're going to trip over the curb as you go up. If you are a mother with a stroller or a father with a stroller, and you need to get up onto the curb, you don't have to wheel back and try until you're way up. You're benefiting from accessibility accommodations that are made for other people. Some other temporary disabilities include if you've broken an arm, you might find it a lot harder to use the mouse on your computer. You may find it easier to tab around the page. You may find yourself using the arrow keys or space bar to scroll down the page. You're benefiting from things that disabled users need as well. Being able to tab to the button, tab to hyperlink, open the page. These are all ways that we benefit. So, recently I got glasses, wearing glasses, had my eyes dilated, and I found it super duper hard to read the grocery list on my phone until I was able to turn up the size of the font on my screen so that I could read it. So, this is a call that if you're building anything, you should care. And sometimes this is going to be as simple as making sure that you're building things with good high contrast. Sometimes this is going to be as simple as instead of taking that fancy looking JavaScript library off the shelf that gives you a fancy looking dropdown, just use native HTML select boxes or combo boxes. A lot of the tools, I'm speaking from web developer experience, a lot of the tools that we have built into browsers are a lot more accessible than somebody who has built a big component library. Some of those component libraries are great, and that's awesome, they've taken the time. A lot of those are not necessarily, leave some room for improvement, let's say. So, if this is you, and you're wondering how do I get started, let me recommend AxeCon by DQ, not the ice cream, DEQUE. It's a company that puts on a free accessibility conference every February, I believe, February, March, each year. DQ.com, DEQUE.com, you can go on and you can watch the archives of previous years. Get started. They also have automated scanning. I know we love automated testing around here. And they have some tools that will not catch all of your accessibility issues, but they will go a long way towards helping you get the easy things done right. So, that's all I got. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Joe Asbury. I'm going to see if I can make this one the fastest one here. And I actually don't have a presentation, but everybody's favorite. This will, I'm sure, not go well, a live code demo, right? So, I graduated Northville University 2018. Been at the same company ever since I graduated, but been hopping around a lot, actually, different jobs within the company. Where I ended up over the last couple of years, kind of lost track of how long I've been in this specific position. I am on a DevOpsy team, I guess you could say. I'm a developer for the developers, right? I help write the pipelines and help other people's code come online. Now, that's perfect for me because I love computers and I love software and I don't know anything about hardware. And the more I work on this stuff, the more I want to do in my spare time. I'm weird. I close my work computer, open my personal computer. Actually, maybe you guys do that too. But yeah. So, that said, I have I really like writing open source software, I guess you could say. We're not really necessarily allowed to do it at work, so I do it outside of company time. However, there's a lot of things that I find that I tend to be sort of doing the same at work and outside of work, of course, so I follow my same paradigm. So in that case, I tend to start the stuff outside of work, maybe, write it open source, and then maybe somebody can use it in the company later. That said, I'm following the same paradigms. Instead of having to just keep writing the same thing over and over again, I mean, obviously you want to keep your code, don't repeat yourself, dry, as I'm sure you've heard that before. There is something interesting out there, template generators, or things that generate code from templates. The best one I could find was Copier. I am working on a Python package template for Copier, which is a Python program that does this for you. Not only does it pump out these templates for you, it actually makes them updatable so that when you create a project, you can actually go back and fix it from the newer version of the template. So, that said, I mean, you can just look at this without even me going through any of the code. You can see this is going to generate a project that's called Fit Project 99, has a CLI with it, and it will even automatically open the project when I run this thing right here, hopefully. So, I'm going to do that. And this template that this uses actually has a full-on development container. Don't know if you guys have ever used dev containers in Visual Studio Code before. Great way to get work done because it gets all of your dependencies into one specific container so that everything just magically works. That said, I would not be surprised if it takes a long time to download the Docker image that we're using for here. You see it's going through that right now, so that might be what we're going to be waiting for. So I have to fill my time by saying something else. Get faster internet? I'm not sure. That wasn't a statement to this place, that was just y'all should have fast internet. Anyway, so as this thing finishes up on installing all these dependencies and everything to get my IDE up and running, you'll see it finish up right here, and you can see all the files that it generated are no longer template files. Not that I showed you the source code, like I said, I wasn't going to do that, but this is all valid stuff in here, right? I templatized like the Docker file that, it has like an entry point that's the same name as the project. There's nothing interesting going on here that's super impressive. I like working on these things because it helps me. Yes, I try to keep my code not copied and pasted, but there's only so much you can do with that, right? That's when these things come into play. And in the end, I'm planning on actually making a web interface over top of this template generation thing and maybe making a sort of developer portal. First open source project I'm really going to try to do. So. And you can see here that it did in fact create something, and if I run a task for this, which I defined to build a Docker image, you'll see this worked. If I were to go run that same command again with, I don't know, a different project name in there and everything, you'll see that the project that opens up has everything templatized the proper way. I guess that's it. Stay tuned if I ever actually finish a personal project, like the web interface over this thing, but we'll see.
Anyone?
And to fill the gap, since nobody has come up to say it yet, PhillyLinux.org, which is our version, meets twice a month. On the first Wednesday, it's always a Gypsy online thing. And on the second Tuesday, we alternate. So I think it's odd months are in person in Bluebell, and even months are on Gypsy online. So PhillyLinux.org, come and find us.
All right. Hello, CPOS. My name is Fred Love. I am a first-time speaker at anything with 200 people in it, so, or however many people are here. So I'm a little nervous, but I definitely wanted to do this today. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about myself and explain why I'm making this a lightning talk. I'm like I said, I'm an early stage or early career software dev, and I am a maintainer on the Open Project, which is a free and open source software or web development platform or curriculum. We just celebrated 10 years of since our first initial commit. We are fully self-funded and have over 1 million website signups and over 100,000 Discord users. And we've helped a lot of people transition into the web dev space and software development. And as a maintainer now, as a new maintainer, I can't take credit for all that, but I get to at least help guide the ship going forward. And I really, it's really important to me that something I get to take from, I get to give back to. And that brings me to what the topic today, asking good questions, tips and tricks, you know. I know from the Luddite conversation earlier today to everybody talking about AI, getting upskilled in AI, getting your code base, getting up to speed and all that, I still think that there's still a need for a person. You know, that you need to collaborate, work on a team, and when you get stuck, asking good questions, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware, is the way to do it. So, not that kind of question. So my first thing is, and I've only been at this for a couple of years, all said and done, and even I have to get over my own ego. Like I get to the point where I think I should know this. I don't need someone else's help. And I've gotten myself in that shoebox more than once. And I'm just telling you, you have to, no matter where you're at in your career or your journey, you have to break away from that. And I bring up this imposter syndrome image here, more so for the right one, because everybody has their own set of knowledge, of what they know, and you can see how they overlap. But I can be a better developer, I can be a better teammate if I can leverage other people's knowledge to get skilled up in whatever the problem space is, the domain issue or domain space is, by leveraging each of those concentric circles that are slightly overlapping. And I think that's really something it's powerful. It's particularly if you're coming at it from the left-hand side, where you think you know this much and everybody in this room knows that much. Not really the same, not the same thing. So here's my hot take about I think and again, I know today is all about AI, and just using it to get yourself out of any jam. I'm going to tell you, I think a systematic approach, a good question template is better than any rubber duck or any AI, you know, because if you can't explain it, if you don't understand it, it's only going to get you 80% of the way there. And so this is just an example template. I know this is the best one, and your mileage may vary, but if you take a systematic approach to it, reusable template, you can screenshots for the issue or problem. If you have to, movie, but That's like extra. I think if you can't take a screenshot for it, then then that's something you might want to break down your problem some more. What you expected, what you tried, including resources, code, and then also, please, how did somebody help you? How did they reduce that issue locally, right? And lastly here, committing your thoughts, because you're getting multiple chances to assess what's going on, okay? And uncover any logical fallacies or misunderstandings. And then also it helps the person helping you come out and improve your understanding of the issue so that you can skill up faster. And honestly, I can't tell you, as you can probably tell, I'm a huge fan of templates. I've solved so many issues myself just by using them. I'm a huge, again, better than hard enough. And I can't recommend enough. But thank you very much. My name is Bill Love. Thank you.
What's the most you've ever lost in a coin toss? In No Country for Old Men, the villain Anton walks into a gas station, flips a coin, and asks the man there to bet, to call it for his life. And the man says, "I didn't put nothing up." And then Anton says, "You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it. You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it." I'm going to talk a little bit about risk and how we're all taking risk in our day-to-day lives. And we may not know it, but we should. My name is Andrew. I spent 15 years as a Wall Street trader. A lot of that time was finance stuff, but also studying a lot of decision science, how people make decisions, why a lot of people make bad decisions, how to make consistent decisions. And also none of this is financial advice. So who has some exposure to the stock market? Right? So some people call it investing. I think investing and gambling are the same thing. Maybe investing you expect to win. Let's say I have a coin that's 52% to be heads. Okay, I'm going to give you the good side of that coin. Who here would want to bet me $1,000 on that? Assuming I'm telling the truth.
How many times can we flip it? How much do I have?
It's your personal situation. We're going to flip it once. Okay. So 52% to be heads. I'm telling the truth. Now we got a couple takers, but we got a lot of people investing in the stock market. If you have a retirement portfolio of, say, $100,000, the stock market tends to go up or down about 1% a day on average. Obviously, some days a lot more, some days a lot less. And historically, maybe it goes up 10% a year. That's mathematically equivalent, if you have that $100,000 retirement portfolio, to wake up every morning and flip a coin for $1,000 at 52%. So if that's your retirement portfolio, but you're not willing to make the bet in the coin toss, there's something a little bit inconsistent there, right? So there's not a right or wrong answer when it comes to how much risk you want to take. It matters your personal preferences. The size of your bankroll is really important. If you only have $1,000 in your name, don't take the bet no matter what odds you're getting, right? So it's different for every person. We just want to be consistent. So that's it. We're all taking risks. When you drive, you have exposure to the price of gas. You have exposure to the cost of labor to fix your car. You have a risk of getting in an accident. Some of these things you can control, some you can't. Hopefully, this is why a lot of people say keep a buffer of savings. You maybe don't care about the price of oil changing a little bit. But if you're going to buy a new car, you might care a lot about, say, upcoming tariffs changing the price. So when you have enough savings, those changes don't matter as much to you. Recently, if you like breakfast foods like I do, you may have seen the price of eggs. And again, if you have a buffer, you can keep enjoying those delicious eggs and not have it affect your day-to-day life. So in terms of how much risk is too much, when I was trading, we talked a lot about bet size. If you have a good opportunity, how big do you bet? How confident are you? The definition of risk to me is a likely scenario where the downside is really bad to you. So what is the amount of money, or even a health crisis or anything that has risk, that has a significant downside to you? And if that is more than a 1 to 5% chance, that's probably too much risk. So you want to protect yourself against things that have those really bad outcomes. So why do we use insurance? Insurance is a negative expectancy bet. The insurance company knows more about the probability of you getting in an accident, dying for life insurance,
health insurance, they're making money off you, but you're hedging that downside. So the amount that you want to hedge depends maybe on what kind of buffer you have. If you have a decent buffer, you might not need a $500 deductible on your vehicle, but you might want, the replacement value of your car in case you crash it. So, that fender bender might not matter to you, whereas, again, if you're on a tight budget and you're gonna have to dip into credit card debt, all of a sudden it makes a lot of sense to hedge that kind of risk. Very different circumstances, different risk decisions. In general with risk, you want to compound positive changes on a day-to-day basis. When I was trading, most days you just try to make good decisions again and again. 51% bets again and again over a year actually add up to quite a large win. And so things like, exercising day-to-day, good diet, good sleep, having a reasonable retirement portfolio, those decisions compound in the long term and give you a buffer where if you get a really good opportunity, say a big job offer, you can bet larger on it and take more risk because you have a buffer. Whereas if you don't have that buffer, you're going to have to be a lot more conservative in terms of the risk that you take. And then the other thing is just don't blow up. So, when Wall Street blow up, the hedge fund goes out of business. In real life, we're talking about decisions you make that have a significantly bad outcome. That's why you keep health insurance. That's why you take care of yourself. If you can lower the probability of those things from happening, we all have a limited time here, but you want to stay in the game and keep making good decisions for as long as you can. So that's how I think about risk. I think it's different for every person. If you work at a tech company, live in San Francisco, have stock options, and are along the S&P 500, which is 40% tech, you kind of have your eggs all in one basket, even though you think you might be diversified. So you have to think about your own personal portfolio risk, your health, your assets, your ability, and then think about how to hedge that risk appropriately. So think about that for yourself, make the right decisions, and you're going to have a better average outcome on average. Thanks.
We good? All right, cool. Hello, my name is Charlie. Probably the most relevant claim to fame, I guess, here is I'm a FreeBSD committer. FreeBSD is not Linux. Will can very much say that I'm not Linuxy enough because I really am not. Wear a lot of hats, but today we're discussing DJing on FreeBSD, or really Linux or any other open source Unix-like operating system. I actually did a much longer version of this little demo, or whatever you want to call it, at a couple other places. So this is the lightning talk version. So I will move this little diagram over to the other monitor so you can see it. So this is what you would probably think of as as a DJ setup. You have a mixer, and then you have two items that can play music, right? So in this case, in my home setup, I actually use turntables. I start off on vinyl, and there's actually this special vinyl where if you only have digital tracks, you can actually put the vinyl on and use it as a regular vinyl, but instead of like the audio, there's a time code signal that goes into the computer, and a program kind of makes sense of it. We'll kind of go over that a little bit later, but this is the setup I use at home to kind of enable that digital vinyl setup. So you've got two turntables, you've got a mixer. The turntables themselves are USB audio interfaces, and so I just pipe in the time code signal into my computer actually, and through that program I select whatever track I want, and then the computer pipes that back out into each mixer channel there using the two other USB audio interfaces. So that's really just as long as you're able to pipe in some kind of audio into separate mixer channels, you then just kind of manipulate it through your faders and your filters and whatnot. So that's just the real basic thing. Obviously, I do not physically have my turntables and my physical mixer here because that would take a hell of a lot longer than a lightning talk length. So instead, I brought my controller. So this here is it's a much more compact version of it. It's obviously not not a complete, vinyl setup, so it's not a turntable, but you do have a jog wheel. Kind of simulates a turntable, such that you can still kind of spin around all your tracks and whatnot. And so the program that I use for this, I'll drag this over as well, if I can do that. Drag this over. To close that window. Minimize it. Cool. So this program is called Mix. It's spelled with 3 X's. This is an open source DJ program. Most DJs are probably going to be using a proprietary program if they use one called Recordbox or Serato. So this is essentially an open source variant or version of it. Originally developed, I believe, as another PhD dissertation, at least partially. So, but yeah, this so it pretty much, so you've got all your track selections. I can sort them into different crates and playlists, and obviously have a big track collection there. But what you see is my crate of all the tracks I actually have on vinyl. But really, I guess for today we'll kind of just go over like how you would do it on a controller. So this controller is a MIDI controller. So you plug it in via USB, and the machine recognizes it as essentially a MIDI device. So then the program, you just have to put some mappings, so that, let's say, your pitch fader actually moves. These faders move, and then you've got your low, mid, high, and then this little filter fader, or really the effects fader here, or the effects knob, and then here's your crossfader. So essentially, as long as you have your mappings, it everything should move. So I will actually do a very quick demo for you. And right now I'm actually moving this up a little bit so we can conserve a little bit of time. Here's my affiliation with FreeBSD. If you just add the .org at the end, that's my FreeBSD email, but you can also find me on the Amish Tech Slack, even though you're better off finding me on IRC. Thanks, everyone.
We have one speaker left, so this is your last chance if you had an advertisement, or you were hiring, or you have a user group, or anything like that. And those of you who are organizers who are supposed to be down here at the end, this is the last talk, so it's almost your turn.
Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Patrick from Pittsburgh. Just want to let you know, Ohio Linux Fest Open and Libre Free Conference is coming back this fall. It is a hybrid conference, so you can just stream it from the comfort of your own home, or go out to Columbus and do it yourself. Date to be announced, olfconference.org.
Hey everybody. I'm here to talk about the CPOSC Archives project. Woo! Actually, what I'm here to talk about today is time travel. So, this is me. Old picture of me, but this is me, and it says one of the things that I enjoy up there is archiving various things in a digital fashion, making them accessible to people, open source. So I'm starting the CPOSC Archives project. Send in your old stuff. cposcarchives@fastmail.com. You can also hit me on the Slack at Gember if you are there. So you might know, if you visited Eventbrite to order your tickets, that this is actually the 15th annual Central Pennsylvania Open Source Conference. We did have a gap of a couple years due to COVID, but that is true. 15th annual Central PA Open Source Conference. And you might visit our website, and when you visit our website, not many people know this yet, but let's say you want to look at last year's website. Well, you could add 2024 after the cposc.org, and you'll see last year's website, right? Really cool. And if you hit in 2023, you'll get the 2023 version of the website with the speakers and schedule, everything like that. And you'll be like, okay, well, great. I'm going to put in 2019, and okay, when I see stuff like that, that just kills me to have, apologies to everybody ever involved volunteering for CPOSC. This just happens organizationally across all sorts of organization. You'll have key members collecting things, making them accessible. They move on, things get lost. And, Local Area Networks is happily hosting our YouTube channel right now. And yeah, you'll see that there's 4 years, 3 years and a half maybe of content. And that's actually doing good for some organizations like this, but it kind of can feel like the existence of the previous years are being erased from history. And it kind of makes you wonder. You go, well, great Scott, how did we get here? What can we do about this? Well, I'm here to tell you, we can do better. So that is, it's a bit of a head scratcher, maybe. How can we really approach this? And I've had experience with this before. You kind of just need to hit the ground running. So send in your old stuff. cposcarchives@fastmail.com. Maybe by a few weeks from now, maybe it'll be a cpos.org email address. But here's what I'm looking for. No massively huge attachments. I'm just not set up for that yet. Send me links if you can upload it. If you have stuff from previous years, photo albums, video of your stuff, make them accessible. If you don't have that, just contact me. Send me your old hard drives, things if you can. cposcarchives@fastmail.com, Slack@Gember. So like if your wife recorded your video and or maybe she was your girlfriend at the time, and now she's your wife. And she uses this awesome Sony Betamax video camcorder. We'll find a way to make it happen. What if, you still have your slides? On this really old external hard drive. Don't make me go dumpster diving for this information. Just come at me, send me your old stuff, and we'll find some way to make them accessible so that people can view the stuff from yesteryear. Our dedicated data recovery scientists are ready for your submissions. And they'll get to right to work copying over all that lovely digital content so that you can see more years worth of content on websites like this. And
You know, I know it's a big ask, but I'm not expecting anything. Maybe we can even find dedicated hosting somewhere. You know, normally my go-to would be this, but they are in the midst of a massive lawsuit by the recording industry. Definitely they are looking for your donations if you can help to assist their legal fund. Go to archive.org, there is information there. With all this in mind, you know, we might be able to see everything restored and get access to the things that we were looking for, and you know, who knows, maybe even get that happy ending. So, CPOSC Archives, restoring the past. CPOSC Archives at fastmail.com, or hit me up on Slack, Denver.
And that is the end of the lightning talks. Third row already done, including the 3 without slides. The gong will probably invite me back next year. Remember, the first hit is free. Today's lightning talk speaker may be a keynote speaker sometime in the future. For those of you who can't wait an entire year until the gong and I show up back at this conference, 2 weeks from now, if you've planned ahead or you just are made of money, the gong and I will be in Munich for the German Pearl Workshop. And the last weekend of June, we will be in Greenville, South Carolina for the Pearl and Raccoon Conference. Or we'll see you back here next year.